Ladies and gentlemen of the house, a very good evening to you. Imagine a young man at a party, very well to do. He sees this beautiful young lady at the distance and approaches her with a drink and says, "Hey beautiful, I'm rich, marry me." That is direct marketing. The pretty lady slaps him. That is customer feedback. So, money, people say money cannot buy love. That would depend on how one would define love. Yet, the position of money would give an excellent platform or a launching pad for the person with money. However, we're also well aware of true love happening to people without any money, that money has never been an object when it came to love. And there are other things that would enhance a person's bargaining position. Not wasting any more time, I would like to call upon the Prime Minister from the government representing the topic. Anubhav, over to you.
I would like to thank the Chairman of the House for introducing the motion, and a very warm welcome to all the members of Parliament for the motion as well as the opposition. So, the topic of discussion today is that love love cannot be bought by money, but money does improve the bargaining power. Now, what do we mean by that? Love depends on a lot of things. It depends on how nice we are, the niceness of the person. It depends on whether we understand the other person, whether we can be there for them, whether we can take the effort for them. Now, I would like to define how money influences all these parts. Money, specifically being rich, it allows you to be nicer in general. You have less to worry about. You need not focus on the fact that your boss scolded you in the morning, or you need not be that worried about it, and you can instead focus on being nice to the other person who you're in love with. And this can be extended beyond romantic love. This can be extended to other forms of love as well. Money allows you to provide luxury, to provide comfort, which is an important part of love. And money itself is a measure of value. So we talk about how much effort the other person is putting in, how much adjustment the other person is giving into the relationship, whatever the relationship it may be. But money is a result of effort. It's a quantization of value, and having money, being rich, allows you to transfer that value to the person you love. Thank you.
So the Prime Minister raised issues of having wealth makes you a nicer person because you have less to worry about. Secondly, money or having wealth is a symbol of effort, and that itself sends a signal out to the person you love. I now call upon the leader of the opposition, Urvashi, to state her case regarding this motion.
I would like to thank the chairperson for giving me the opportunity to speak against, to bring out my opinion against the issues that were raised by Anubhav this evening. So, Anubhav spoke about a person being able to be nice to the companion, to the partner, if in case he has a lot of money. Now, I would like to oppose that because, basically, nicety arises from a feeling of attachment and a feeling of real belongingness. If you have that, despite all the worries, I think love transcends all these worries in your head. It makes you really, so what I'm trying to say is that even if you are in any state of mind, it is the power of love that brings you back to your normal self, and it makes you feel nice, and it makes you contribute to the nicety of the India surrounding. That being said, I would like to bring out some points which I feel go against the topic that has been given to us. We have been assigned the fact that so we have to say that money does not really strengthen bargaining part. Now, I would like to say that love basically transcends a lot of materialistic pursuits. It is more about caring and sharing. It's more about learning from each other. And I believe money really does not have so much of value. Caring and sharing can be done because it does not have that much of resources to support it, because it's ultimately more emotional. It's all on a very psychological level. It is not so much, it hasn't so much to do with with comfort per se. If you can provide if you can provide emotional comfort, then physical comfort doesn't stand so much to gain. Besides, you have a lot of examples of really rich men who have been single all through their lives. They have not found love. I think one reason is, despite the fact that they had so much of money and whatever bargaining power it could bring to, it has not proved very useful to them. Again, we have such stories where princesses ultimately end up marrying paupers, and they don't really care so much about the comfort level that could be provided in a small hut, say in some really isolated corner of the town, but they're happy with the person that they're going to live with. So that's why even if there's no money with the person that they're going to marry, it doesn't really matter to them. Apart from that, if you would look at say entrepreneurship, for instance, you have examples where people have left really lucrative jobs and pursue what they really love, a career in which they would think that they would enjoy and they would really like it. Now, if you see, they would have got a lot of money in the career that they were pursuing, and they could have taken that up and really led a rich life, but they gave up their option, and instead they chose to follow their heart. That did not in any sense bring out the fact that money had the bargaining power to keep them on the job. So these are some of the points that I would like to raise, and now handing over to the chairs. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The leader of the opposition at first raised the fact that love transcends materiality. It's about caring, sharing, and there is and has an emotional aspect to it, which overpowers the materialistic aspect of a relationship. She raised the case of lonely rich men and princesses marrying paupers, the former being unhappy, the latter being happy, even in poverty. She also raised the issue of doing what we love, sacrificing money for doing what we love, and the incapability of money to withhold people from pursuing their passion. I now hand over the stage back to the government and call upon the Deputy Prime Minister, Kamlesh.
Thank you, Chairman of the session of the Parliament and the members of the Parliament. So, as we are speaking towards this topic, I would like to point out a few things, as my friends from the opposition has pointed out regarding this. So, first of all, they have just talked about just hypothetical sharing of things which are not very quantified. So, what do they really want to share to be in love, actually? And the second thing is, why do no one fall in love with a poor person? Because love is more challenging in the absence of money. That is one of the aspects. So, if we see from this perspective, love is like a service, and if money can pay for it, that can be one of the aspects to see into it. And the third thing is, as pointed out by our honorable member, was that rich men who were single, they didn't fall in love. So, regarding that, if he is rich, then definitely he is in love with his job, or he is love with the money. It is not only love for a human being. And the fourth thing was about the princess with the papers, and such things are only a matter of the fairy tales, and they can be just seen in the stories, and these are not the things of reality. So, going against strengthening our argument, just as a Maslowian theory, first of all we have to satisfy our materialistic needs that comes with the money, and then we can go on thinking about love that we see in terms of true love, that is merely hypothetical thing, and it is not very defined. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much, Deputy Prime Minister. So the Deputy Prime Minister began by questioning the very fundamental, the foundation of the leader of the opposition's argument. He also raised the issue of love is challenging in the absence of money, and pointed out that money would come, we would need to focus on money first, as a result of which we'd have to focus on money first, love would follow. I would like to call upon the last speaker of the session, the Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Amit.
Respected Chairperson, respected members of the Parliament and the audience. The government has raised certain very critical statements about this topic when they said that love is a service. So you can put a service tax on it, right? What you need to understand is, when you say that you are putting a bargaining power on this, with this aspect of love, what are you negotiating here? You are negotiating your life every day, day in and day out. And when you do that, what is the strength that drives you? That is love. Materialism, to a certain extent, I take that from the Maslow's statement which the government mentioned. Yes, to some extent it is required, because until you exist, love can't propagate. But if you focus on only the money thing, what you are actually doing is you have been blindfolded by this concept, and you are not truly understanding what actually love is about. The Prime Minister also mentioned about money. If you have money, you can project a nicer face. I want to ask you, nicer face to whom and for what? So it's just, you can always fake a nicer face because you have money in your pocket, but no love in your heart, and you know at the end of the day that whatever you're doing is just faking, and since somebody is putting money into your pocket, you're doing that. So my submission to the group is that anything, when we talk about the higher pursuits of life and truly attaining the states of the sixth sigma of the normal distribution curve, which is attained by Lord Buddha or some people like that, and which we want to achieve that state, it's only through love that you can do it, and not through focusing on materialistic needs. Thank you.
That was a very, very, very elevated discussion that the Deputy Leader of the Opposition brought about. So he questioned the Deputy Prime Minister's statement that love is a service, and inquired whether how would you negotiate love? Would it be at the cost of one's own life? And how would one put a price tag on love and relationships? He also raised the question of whether being nice appearing nice is the same as being nice. So the truth that he believes is that it is more important to be nice than be rich and appear nice. I now hand over the stage to the Prime Minister, who will come for a second time and conclude the debate.
This time we do not have, first of all, thanks to the chairman, and thanks to everybody in the parliament for the points they made. But this time we do not have a consensus, but I would like to reiterate some of the points and counter some of the points raised in the last round. So, nicer face need not be faked. Overall, because you have money, even if you are nice, in the absence of money, it's more difficult to actually show that nice face. Just ask anybody who works for extended hours and then comes back home, and are they able to really be as nice as they can be to their family? So it becomes more challenging. And we had an elevated discussion, I completely agree. And the entire point is the discussion was very elevated. To reach that state of elevation, you need to have a proper backing, and we can only make those statements in the comfort which we have right now, which is in the comfort of the relatively rich. Thank you.
So in conclusion, love is all about expression and what one feels within. The government believes that being wealthy, being able to afford comforts in life would make you capable, would allow you to express your love better. Whereas the opposition believes that one would express love no matter what one's material